Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Coach Spurrier will join us a little bit later. Can't wait to talk to him about the spring game and other golf. We can definitely talk some golf with him. Robbie Andrew will join us for a yes, no way, or maybe. We always love Mondays. They are the easiest ones I have. All I got to do is come up with questions and go from there. Thursday's guest, we're still not sure of. Unfortunately, somebody had to bail on me, and we've got to call out to somebody, and then we'll move from there. We'll have somebody that'll be really good on Thursday. Let's go ahead and get to our Process Service of Gainesville Starting Five, brought to you by Scott Hart and the wonderful people at Process Service of Gainesville. Number one, spring day. What a spring day it was. It was as beautiful a day as you could ask for. The temperature, I think it could be a 1 degree colder. Okay. No, I think it needs to warm up just one more degree. That felt like what you were doing all day. It was unbelievably nice, and it was a great day. In fact, I went to some of the tailgates. Of course, the NIL, the Florida Victorious tailgate, was a huge success. And if you saw that after the tournament was over, or after the game was over, there's Micah hand-logged in there. Looked like he's walking pretty good. And then all the people that were out there for that and for Johnny Townsend's thing, we just had a blast. Everybody had so much fun out there, and this really needs to kind of be the way. There's Walt Clayton. This needs to be the way we do these things from now on, to have people on the field after the game. And, I mean, to be able to sign autographs and do all that stuff, it's so great. It was like the greatest. It reminded me of the old days when I was a kid, and you would show up after the game, after the spring game, and you would go down the field and you would meet all your favorite players. That's what it was like. I remember I have a picture with me and Mike Williams from, I would have been 71 or so. Will Richard. I got blanked on his name for a minute. Yeah, so the basketball players were all over at one tent. A lot of former players were over another tent. It was just a massive show, and it was so much fun, and I hope you guys were able to do it. I ran into Ricky Nattiel, ran into a bunch of Jimmy Ray Stevens. We had a long talk with him and Regina. Just a fun time. This is going to shock you, Zach, I know, but my wife said, why did everybody want their picture taken with you, Pat? I don't understand that. And I was like, yeah, I didn't really get it either, but she goes, you're more popular now than you were when you worked at the newspaper. And I said, well, that's the podcast and the radio and the other things I'm doing. But there were, it was amazing how many people stopped me to get my picture taken. And I was more than happy to help them all. And no cameras broke, I don't think.
It's hard for her to be impressed anymore because she's just used to it.
Yeah, no, she was impressed this time, yeah. So anyway, it was just a perfect day. Johnny's thing was great. The Victorious thing was great. I know they got a lot of new people to join the Victorious, and I think it's great what Freddie did and to get that done. And so it was just a really almost perfect day. Nobody got hurt. Costell went out of the game at one point, but he'd already been hurt, so I'm sure it's something he'll be able to come. And let's get to number two, which is what we saw. And one thing we did see was that the defense still has problems covering, but they adjusted, and they played great in the second half. They made a lot of stops, had a couple of picks on plays I didn't see last year. Last year they had 3 interceptions, right? I think all 3 of them were like tip balls. This was the play that Sharif Denson made was a play I haven't seen in a while here. Cutting on the ball and picking it off instead of just going, ooh, I can't touch you. The play Nunnery made on his interception, what a great play that was. That was a good sign, and they kept making stops as well. Now, every spring game is the same way. If the offense does good, that means the defense didn't do good. Certainly, we're coming up on our play of the week and in a minute, and when we get to that, you're going to see a play where the defense didn't do very good. But the offense did great. When the offense is struggling to move the ball, which they did in the second half, the defense doesn't look great. So, but I thought the defense looked better than I've seen. But again, I'm not going to take too much. Like I said, we can't have overreaction Monday. I'm not going to have overreaction Monday. I still think this is a chance to be a good team. You're going to read something I'm going to write for Gators Wire on Tuesday, and I think you're going to go, holy cow, we could be all right. Keep an eye on that. And I'll talk about it Thursday, okay? I'm saving it for Gators Wire. Hey, they pay me a lot of money, too. All right, let's go to number 3, which is the Masters on CBS. I really enjoyed it until the last 8 or 9 holes. Not really the last 5 holes, because you knew Scheffler wasn't going to not win. He wasn't going to not win as a double negative, but he was going to win. That's what I should say. He was too good. He's just too good. He reminded me a lot of what Tiger used to do. And Tiger used to make my Sundays that I was anticipating boring because he was too good. And that's where Scheffler is right now. Now, I'm not saying he's going to stay there. This is a 4-tournament run that is unbelievable. Win, should have won, had a weird deal where his ball spun off the green into the water on one hole, which, happens. And I'm not saying that anybody should be, but he could have won that tournament and then wins the Masters. Second one out of 3 years. Guy is a different level and mentally so tough, but it's different. He's different. He is weird in a lot of ways in that he is just has no emotion out there. The biggest emotion we saw was on Saturday. He makes that eagle on 13 and he gets a triple fist pump. And we were like, that would be like Tiger Woods doing it up in the air and blah, blah. No, he's a different guy. But you know what? That's probably why he's part of the reason why he's good. Doesn't get mad, doesn't get happy. Just kind of goes through his round, wants to get home, see his family that's about to grow by one. And good luck to Scotty on that. I mean, I'm a fan of Scotty Scheffler. I am. He's different, but he is incredible. And, I mean, again, with that swing, you can't say he's not different. I've never seen anybody swing like that. And it's not the swing. It's not what happens from here, but it's what happens with his feet. I was trying it in the parking lot today, and I think maybe it will help me a little bit. I don't know. I can't hit the ball anywhere. So in the olden days, I used to pump it out there. In fact, I was thinking about this the other day. My last 300-yard drive, and that was at UF on the 5th hole, was the 5th hole then, was my last 300-yard drive. Now I'm knocking out there about 190. That's what happens when you have 2 new knees. All right, let's get to number 4 on our process service starting 5, and that is what happened with Tiger during the tournament. Now, we all wanted to make the cut. We all wanted... And I'm sure CBS was begging him to make the cut. And he made the cut. And it was not even close. I mean, he was actually in contention. And he talked about it. Then he shot 82 on Saturday. I shot 85 on a Monday at Augusta. Same golf course, although we teed it up a little further up. So he was 3 shots better than me. The best golfer of all time was 3 shots better than me. I'm going to take that to my grave. It was the worst he'd ever done. But look, as he said, I'm going onward. I'm going to play in all the majors. It's my plan. I'm going to start doing homework on it. I think we watched Tiger again, and we have said this multiple times. He's done, but we still want to watch him play golf just because he's such a personality. He's such a big figure in the world of golf. We want to see him continue out there. But he ain't winning anything. I mean, if he shot 82 at Augusta, that's not a good sign. I hope he does. It'd be great. Also, I did want to make a shout out to Vern Lundquist because Vern's never been on this podcast, but he's been on a lot of radio shows of mine, and he is one of my heroes, to be honest with you. I love that guy. I feel like a lot of my life was spent, the best parts of my life were spent him doing SEC games, him doing SEC tournaments, him doing all these different sport, obviously masters that I was at. I was talking to my wife about it. I go, I feel like he is the soundtrack of my life. Like a lot of people will say, well, Mick Hubert was the soundtrack of my life. Well, I don't listen to games. I listen to highlights and everything. Skip Carey and Vern Lundquist were probably the two biggest voices of my lifetime. And Milo Hamilton, I'll throw them in there. But Vern, I sent him a long text to tell him how much I love him. And he's done after 40 years. I know it's hard for him physically, you can see. And the thing that Tiger did, walking over and shaking his hand on the 16th while he was sitting down there watching everything, classy, man. That's where you got to be. Vern, hang with us as long as you can because I care about you a lot. And a lot of Gator fans go, oh, I'm glad he's off the air. He could not. Chris Richard, he used to call Cliff Richard. Okay. He's also the same guy who stood there while Joakim Noah is doing the stickity dance. And he's doing it to the band strikes up right as they're getting ready to go on the air to after the SEC tournament in 2007. And Joakim hears the band. He starts doing the stickity dance, which is like this. And I'm laughing. I am laughing so hard. He's throwing things up in the air. And this is the perfection of Vern Lundquist. Instead of trying to interrupt or talk to Billy, he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Joakim Noah. And he kept doing the dance. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, Joakim Noah. Said it 3 times. That is the perfection of what Vern Lundquist was. The ability to get out of the way, but still bring it to you. Have you ever seen anything in your life like that? On Tiger's chip. Yes, sir! On Nicholas in 86. He's one of the best, and I care about him a lot. So I'm going to miss you, Vern. I'm not going to see you around anymore, but I love you, buddy. Let's get to number 5, and that is baseball. On our starting 5 brought to you by Process Service of Gainesville. And baseball found a way to win the last game of the series. First 2 games did not go well. After losing 6 in a row and having a guy hit homers in 6 in a row, they finally won a game. Look, they won the game yesterday because when push came to shove, when it became, I don't know, can I say this on the air? Nut cutting time.
Sure.
They started taking the ball where it was pitched, right field. Colby Shelton comes up. They got the shift on. He just flares it out to left field. It's what we've been yelling about all year with this team. It was what we yelled about 2 years ago. Last year's team was good about doing it. This year's team has not been. It's gotten overwhelmed with, I got to hit a home run to improve my draft status. Maybe this was the beginning of the end of the low point and going forward positively. Sully and I texted back and forth about a couple of things. I don't know. I think they're going to be all right. I think, don't forget, whatever their record is almost irrelevant unless they get below 500. But it's almost irrelevant. They've just got to keep winning enough games. They're going to get into the tournament because they've had such a tough schedule, and it's going to get even tougher. You've got to go to Vandy now. You got to go to Arkansas after that. I mean, it's a very, very difficult schedule. And we'll see. Maybe by that time, Coppola, he's only had one start. It was not good, not great, but but he'll be back after a long time off, and maybe the Neely, Coppola, Caglione may work. Who knows? We'll see. But it was good for them to get that win. All right, that's going to do it for our first segment, the process service of Gainesville starting five. We'll take a break. We will come back with the HBC, Stephen Spurrier, and Robbie Andrew as well. He'll be coming up as well to do Yes, No, Where, Maybe. On another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
I was driving behind a lady, and very suddenly she moved out of the way. There was a log laying in the road, and when I hit my brakes, I went on top of the log. I had 280 discs. I just haven't been the same since. Jeffrey Meldon fought for me all the way. Him and his team really went there for me. Throughout the whole lawsuit, he made sure that my bills was paid. It was never no whenever I called him and asked him for something.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Process Service of Gainesville offers a rapid turnaround on affidavits of service for Gator lawyers locally and nationwide. Our friend Scott Hart offers immediate responses on status requests and is a member of NAPS and FAPS. And he has been a part of the community for almost 2 decades. Need service? Call Process Service of Gainesville at 407-697-9592 or email shartgators, that's G8TR, at yahoo.com. And make sure you ask about the paralegal legal secretary bonus program. Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. He is Steve Spurrier. Meldon Law also brings you his appearances here on Meldon Mondays. It's always great to have Coach Spurrier. I know you watched a lot of golf this weekend because I watched too much probably, but it was fun until the last 3 or 4 holes.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler is by far the best player in the world right now. There's no question about it. I think he's made like $15 million already in 4 months, something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But he's steady. I mean, he hits the ball well, and he's a great putter. Guy one putted the first 3 holes the other day, miss a green, chip up 4 feet, make it. He did that over and over again, and won by 4 shots. But it was interesting. All the Live Tour golfers were there. And DeChambeau had a first day 7 or so.
I knew he blew up.
Yep. Mickelson and Reed, I guess Reed was the best one there. Kipke didn't do much. And John Rahm. Rahm, after saying he'd never go to the Live group, they offered him too much that he couldn't turn down. But it is...
I think it played with his emotions. At that.
It could have.
I mean, he's a defending champ. He shot like 8 over. So, I think it did a little bit.
It may have. I don't know, but it's a shame they all don't play in more tournaments. But they'll play 4 tournaments, considered the best players in the world. But who knows until you go compete against the other best players in the world to see who wins. So I guess it was a good week for the PGA Tour and not real good for the Live group. Yeah,
and it was good for Scotty Scheffler. And I don't know, have you ever tried that Texas 2-step that he –
comes off the ground.
Oh, I tried it today just swinging a fake club, and even that was awkward. I don't know how he does it.
He comes off the ground, that right foot comes off, and I'm thinking, well, this one's either left or right. It's right down the middle. Everyone over down the middle, and he's sort of off balance, but he doesn't. He knows what he's doing with that swing. But his chipping and putting, to me, won the tournament for him. First 3 holes. Yesterday, he missed the green, chipped up about 4 or 5 feet, made every one of them, and go on to the next hole, and then made a few birdies, and pretty much he was the last man standing. And
then when they got to the last 7 or 8 holes, he just knocked down every pin.
He hit every green, just about.
He was really good.
He was really good.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the spring game. So we had a spring game. You were there. I was there. we saw, I don't know that we saw anything spectacular. I do think it was great how many people were out there after the game to get autographs because they've made this live thing maybe work. I'm not live. NIL. It's all initials.
Similar. It's all similar.
Initials, So.
Yeah, paid for performance.
That's right.
Yeah, all the players, I don't know how much they got, but they got paid for sitting out there and signing autographs for, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour, maybe. But, the first half of the Orange-Blue game, a lot of good offense. Graham Mertz and Lagway both threw 1 or 2 touchdowns, I think, apiece, something like that. And it was 17-16, but actually they gave the Orange 3 points.
Yeah.
Because I remember their little walk-on kicker missed every one of them.
He did.
Felt sorry for him. Hit the upright on one. It ricocheted backwards. But anyway, it was...
Well, they gave him these 3 points that nobody even knew what was going on.
I didn't know it either.
Yeah,
And
nobody... I mean...
Yeah.
I finally, about halfway through the game or the first half, I went to around and started asking people, and nobody knew.
Yeah.
And finally, Mark Long, I actually ran into him. He goes, yeah, they won the Thursday practice overtime. So I go,
I read that in the paper today that they won a scrimmage during the week, so they got 3 points. But obviously, the intention of winning the game wasn't there. Because when they had the ball there at the end, Lagway ran out of bounds and threw an incomplete pass where just a couple of runs up the middle, I think, would have ended the game.
Yeah, they were trying to go 2-minute drills, and they were having a practice is what they were doing, and it was. I saw some good things.
The only thing about it, the Orange guys were irritated they got beat.
That's right, they were, especially because there is no way they hit Borningham on that pass down the middle and then ran up and spiked the ball in 7 seconds. Right. There's no way they did that, but that's fine. Well, you did what you wanted to do. You put Trey Smack. Trey Smack now has won 2 straight spring games with field goals. He won it last year too.
Was he 4 for 4 yesterday? I think.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
So that means Graham Mertz's team only got 1 touchdown. Beautiful pass. Crossing route, guy deep down the middle. That was a good, well-executed play. But anyway, the offense was pretty good first half. Defense was real good second half. So it was a close game, and I still feel for the Orange guys. Yeah. Because they got to look the blue guys in the eyes.
So you're always looking at the final. You want to, if they're going to keep score, then there's a winner and a loser.
When the blue jersey guys come running over to the orange guys
and start taunting,
yeah.
I thought that was a little.
Somebody's going to be upset. But
it must be a maybe they get steak versus pork and beans or something like that.
Well, I thought the winner got some new Jordan shoes or something.
Maybe
I'd heard. I don't know, but you can give them anything now. So you can give them $10,000 to the winner or whatever if you'd like.
They should do that. Yeah.
The orange blue game.
By the way, let's go ahead and play our Campus USA play of the weekend, and this was from the spring game. And I'm sure you like this. This looked like the old days. Somebody hitting Riedel right down the middle of the field, wide open.
Yeah, good route.
Trey Wilson.
He's a very good player. We got really good players. I like both of our running backs, Montrell and a new kid, Ball.
He was.
Oh, they're good players.
He was shifty for a 237-pound guy. Yeah.
We got running backs. We got receivers. We got quarterbacks. O-line looks solid. Defense looks a lot better. We just got to play. Go play and win the game.
Yeah, I think they need to get a receiver out of the portal because I don't know that they have a 2 receiver. I mean, Khalil Jackson, Marcus Burke, they're okay, but I think they may need to get one more because they haven't gotten the production I think they thought they would get out of some of the freshmen that are going to be sophomores this year. Also, we had Gator baseball this weekend. Finally got off the schneid. After losing 6 in a row, that was I know Sully wasn't happy, but they finally got it done. And Caglione hitting a homer in 6 straight games. That's a lot of home runs.
And would we win one of the 6?
Won one of the 6. So yes, exactly.
That's a record that will not be broadcast too much, but that is 6. That is amazing. In fact, my good friend Alan Trammell, we had a memorial service for him last Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to have one at the baseball stadium May the 10th.
May the 10th,
when, Florida, we play Kentucky again.
It's Friday night,
was, back in '65, he set the record for RBIs in 1 inning. got 8. It came to bat 3 times in the same inning. I think we scored 18 or 19 runs in that inning. And he got a grand slam and I think 2 doubles, drove in 8 runs.
Was that at home or up
at
there?
Home.
Yeah.
NCAA record. Tommy Shannon played in that game. He was first baseman, I think. And then the catcher was also at the Celebration of Life service for Alan Trammell, and he talked about the game also. But anyway, May the 10th, I'm looking forward to coming and honoring Alan Trammell, one of the all-time great athletes here at Florida.
Literally one of the I think I did one of those lists I do, and I was talking about two-way athletes, and I think he was number 1 on it.
Football and baseball. Yeah, he was really
He
good.
and Dickie Trapp. Dickie Trapp was a very good baseball player.
Yeah, Richard Trapp also, he was at the service also. And Richard, gosh, he was a sophomore my senior year, so he's 76. He still looks like he's about 45. He does. Plays tennis. I mean, he's got one of those genes, or all those genes, and he just stays like a youngster.
I think Alan Trammell actually led the SEC in hitting one year.
He's the all-time leading hitter in Florida
like
history.
426 or
428.
428, yeah.
All-time leading hitter.
I can't believe that I know that he hit 420 something.
we tried to tell him to go play pro baseball, but he wanted to play football. And he actually, I think, was a free agent, signed with the Houston Oilers, and got his ankle broken in a preseason game. They played on the dirt infield. A lot of times, played in a baseball stadium. And he never came back much from that broken ankle. And then went into the insurance business, did very well.
Yep.
Built himself or a company down there in Orlando, did very well.
It's funny because when I was talking to Jeff Cardozo about this. Now they've got all these different fields where the mound is even artificial turf, and guys have a hard time adjusting to that. So you never know what you're going to get now at these different ballparks all around the country. I did want to ask you about this. Okay, so you were out in San Francisco during the time of when O.J. Simpson was a star, right? And I was just wondering what your memories are of him obviously passing away. And we all know that nobody has really good memories of him. But
that happened during the summer when he allegedly killed his wife and the other guy. And we were down at Silver 60s the night it happened in '94. And Silver 60s is a group of guys that played for Coach Graves.
Right.
And we had our reunion, and we're going to have another one this year. Would be, I think, number 54 for us, something like that. So we watched it on TV as he was parading around, and the police had about 15 cop cars following him around, and they let him go into his house, and they persuaded him to turn himself in. And, of course, the trial and all that. And they still haven't found out who did it, although in another trial where they were seeking money from his estate, he lost that. So whatever that means, who knows?
I think I kind of know what it means. But anyway, but I mean, he was such a big star, such a celebrity, commercials, movies and everything, and kind of just threw it all away, and it certainly threw it away twice in a way, because he ended up going to jail.
I think he was a guy that had some anger issues, maybe, but he was a heck of a ball player.
He was a great
Won the
player,
Heisman, played 8 or 10 years pro ball, played at Buffalo for a while, and then came back. And who did he finish up with, 49ers?
Rams, I think.
Rams,
yeah.
May have been one of those two teams.
Maybe it was the 49ers. Might have been one of those two teams out there, yeah. So when you go to that Heisman ceremony, they've taken his picture down. So
they blackballed him or whatever, and also the running back at Southern Cal.
Reggie Bush,
They took that Heisman away.
They took that one away from him.
Yeah, I mean what he did is perfectly legal now.
That's right.
I think.
What do you think about that? Do you think they should give it back to him because of that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I mean,
but when he did it, it was illegal. It was.
Yeah, and they just got caught. His parents, they gave his parents a high rise somewhere in L.A. to live in for a while, and I think maybe he lived with him. I'm not sure. So that was against the rules back then. It's perfectly fine now. But
now you can't get a player for just giving him a high rise.
No, well, especially a Heisman Trophy winner.
That's right.
Yeah, especially.
But all right, anything else, Coach, you want to talk about? I know that you probably
gymnastic ladies.
They start Thursday, right?
National championships this week, and I think we'll be in the hunt. Got to beat Oklahoma.
Yep.
Got to beat LSU. Probably the top 2 favorites, and we're probably third or fourth, somewhere in there. But if we have an excellent meet,
Never know, right?
maybe.
I think just getting them there was an accomplishment.
Oh, shoot, yeah. Well, we won the regular season.
Yeah. But, I mean,
So-
just getting them there with the people that are out, that aren't
Well,
able to
Jenny's
go.
a heck of a coach.
Yeah,
Jenny
she-
Rowland's one of the best coaches on campus because they're always up there competing for it. And they won the regular season, but did not win the tournament. It was in New Orleans, home of LSU. And home field advantage in gymnastics
it's
is a lot
huge.
like football.
It is.
When the whole crowd is for you and against everybody else, that's a little helpful.
You know who else gets no credit or doesn't get enough credit is Mandy O'Leary. They're 13-2. They used to be number 13 in the country, and I think people just ignore it because they're not an SEC team because nobody in the SEC plays lacrosse. But she's done a great job there. They had a big crowd out there last week,
Yeah.
like 1,000 people, so that was pretty cool.
Yep, they're always in contention to win that conference they're in, and probably could do it again. And men and women tennis are having a good year.
They are.
I think our
Yeah.
men are undefeated. I'm not sure, but they had a good win this past weekend.
They did. All right. Well, we got a lot. I mean, look, this is the time of year where a lot of stuff's going on, and obviously I think we got through the biggest weekend, which was Masters, spring game, baseball, all these other sports going on. Lacrosse was going on and everything, but it was a fun day. That day was a fun day. Just Saturday, just everything that went on before, everything that went on after, everything that went on during was just a fun day.
Had a good crowd at the baseball game also.
Yeah.
Against South Carolina, and we didn't win that one, but it was good to see a bunch of people there. A lot of people came into town just for the weekend.
Yep, they did.
And a whole bunch of them were out here at the restaurant also.
They were.
the whole weekend.
I know you
that's
like that,
always
yeah.
good. Well, it's usually crowded anyway, but we had an extra amount of crowd this past weekend.
Well, I just made my Mother's Day reservation.
Wonderful.
Here. So because my wife loves Mother's Day, which she should, and that's the day after my tournament. So I gotta gear back up.
Got to get ready.
Yeah, that's right.
Summertime's here.
That's right. All right, we'll let Coach Spurrier go. We'll be back with more. Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No, Where, Maybe. More of everything on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. Okay, and welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Appreciate Meldon Law for also sponsoring Coach Spurrier's appearances. That was a great one. We had a good time with him. Right now we're going to go to Robbie Andrew, who is brought to you on the Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line. Robbie, you were at the spring game, as was I.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I was. My brother Tim and I were sitting in the East Stands. It was a beautiful day, and I was kind of walked away. I know you can't put too much into a spring game, but I was encouraged by a lot of things. The overall play on defense, the tackling was a lot better. A lot of young guys are playing at a high level. And to me, I know that you can't judge on what he did in that game, but DJ Lagway's ceiling is ridiculously high. And I think we just saw a glimpse of what he's capable of. And he's a reason to feel good about going into the year. Another big reason for feeling good going into the year.
And then
Eugene Wilson, Pat, he's moved up to elite.
Yeah, they've got to find a second guy. I mean, they're going to probably get him in the portal, but they've got and then you've got 3 and 4 are fine. Marcus Burke and Khalil Jackson, you're 3 and 4 guys, but I don't know that either one of those guys is a 2. So you got to find one guy in the portal, but you've got a 1 like you did last year. Last year you had a 1 and a 2.
I think Mizell has a chance to emerge, and I think that Andy Jean, if he can finally get healthy,
he's got to be healthy.
Yeah. So I think those 2 guys have a chance too. So encouraging.
I had an interesting discussion with your buddy Ricky Natile out in the Johnny Townsend thing before the game. He was first of all, he was mad because I didn't put him on one of my lists for best receivers, but. And I probably should have. I mean, he was.
You
really
should have
good.
the Rocket, man.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was, but then he was saying he would have gotten 8,000 yards if he had played in the Spurrier offense, and I was like, "Yeah, you might have actually."
True.
But yeah, he wants Florida to go back to being WRU instead of DBU because it's not either one right now. But we'll see how that all works out. All right, it's time to play Yes, Nowhere, Maybe with Robbie Andrew, as we do every Monday. Brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks, street dining done the right way. Sponsors of the Bob Dooley Invitational. They'll be out there on number 1, serving up sausage dogs, hot dog, whatever they serve up, you will love it. Believe me, I had a great cheesesteak out at the Kanapaha ceremony. If you go in there and say you listen to Robbie Andrew on another Dooley Noted podcast, free fries with your order. I may take advantage of that tomorrow and go there. All right, Robbie, you ready for Yes, Nowhere, Maybe?
I'm ready, Pat. Fire.
All right. Number 1, from what you saw Saturday, Florida's defense will be better next year or this year.
I'm going to say yes, Pat, because there were times last year where they were showing signs. I think that all those young players that played last year are now ready to excel. I think some of these other young guys are ready to step up. And, like I said earlier, the tackling was much better in that game. Fundamentally, they seemed pretty sound throughout, and there weren't a lot of glaring mistakes like we saw throughout last season. So I think the talent level is going to be better. I think the coaching will be better, especially on the back end.
Yeah, I thought the tackling Billy Napier had said that when he talked to the quarterback club. Our tackling has been so much better in the spring. I go, yeah, well, let's see what happens in a game. It was. I mean, there were maybe 2 missed tackles in the game that I saw, but the only problem I had was the first half. The secondary was letting guys run wide open again, and you're like having flashbacks. But the second half, they totally shut everything down. And the two picks were both really athletic, smart plays that haven't. I mean, again, they had 2 picks in this game. They had 3 all last year. I saw something there that I thought I was happy about.
And Pat, speaking of being hard to tackle, that ball kid is going to be a stud, man.
Oh yeah, I love that guy. I mean, not only is he a big, strong, 235-pound guy, he's got unbelievable moves. So
he does.
I actually talked to a couple of recruiting guys during halftime, and I said, hey, am I right to say that Baugh is kind of an underrated recruit, even though he's a 4-star? Nobody's talking about him. And they go, oh, yeah. Definitely is, yeah. So that was pretty good. Let's get to number 2 on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe. Robbie, you would hurt yourself swinging like Scotty Scheffler.
I would hurt myself?
Yeah.
Absolutely, Pat. I would hurt myself swinging like I do right now at my age. So, yeah, I definitely would.
But I tried it a little bit today, running that right foot right through your left foot, and it just feels so awkward. But maybe hey, look, it's working. He's the best player in the world. It's not even close. Who's second best player in the world?
Oh, I know, Pat. He hit the ball so solid throughout the whole weekend. And then, when the pressure's on and the leaderboard was all tied up there, who almost eagles number 9 with a beautiful shot. And from there took over, and the other guys faltered. I mean, he's got the physical game and the middle game combined. He's kind of like Tiger Woods right now.
Well, his middle game is different from Tiger's in that I think they're similar, but they're different, if that makes any sense. It's different because Scotty Scheffler's not out trying to bang Perkins waitresses. That's where they're different. No. Scheffler is like, I don't care about that I just won the Masters. I want to get home because my child's being born.
Yeah,
so
Pat, the greatest part of his game to me is the way he rebounds after a bad hole or a bad shot. It doesn't let him bother him. He comes back and puts together a string of birdies and good holes, and all of a sudden he's back in control. So he's an amazing guy. Amazing golf.
He is. I'm kind of a fan, and then he starts kind of getting too religious for me. And again, I have nothing against religion, but I don't want to hear it in a press conference. But again, that's what I remember a lot of players have asked me, why do you quit writing when I start talking about God? And I go, well, because I don't really want to use those quotes because people, you don't want to offend anybody on the other side. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Terrific person. I get your
point exactly, though.
Yeah, exactly. And if there is a hell, who's in it right now. He just got there. He just got there a couple of days ago.
Who's that, Pat?
He's got initials. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Can you think about who that might be?
Who's going to hell? Oh, okay. Never mind. I know. So now who's looking for the real killer now that he's in hell?
I think he's the same person that was looking for him before. Nobody. Yeah. All right. I'm probably going to get fired the way Norm Macdonald got fired because he got fired for telling too many OJ jokes. And Dick Ebersol, who was the president at NBC, goes to him and goes, no more OJ jokes. And he came back and goes, well, the Pope has just written a new book about secular beliefs and how much people should abstain from certain things. It's called God Whispered to Me and Told Me OJ Did It. That was his first joke after that.
Goodbye job.
So he got fired for that. I love me some Norm Macdonald. All right, finally, number 3 great. On Yes, Nowhere, maybe with Robbie Andrew. Robbie, you're excited about the Knicks and the playoffs. I watched their game yesterday against the Bulls because I was watching to see what Billy did. But are you excited about the Knicks and the playoffs?
Maybe a little bit, Pat. I mean, the Knicks have been so bad for so long that I've kind of quit following them. But now, I've kind of jumped on the thing. They're the number 2 seed, right? And they're in the East.
Yeah, because they won that game. Yeah.
So I'm a little bit excited about it, and I'll watch when they play. I don't know if I'll watch many of the other early round games, but I'll definitely follow them, and it gets me a little bit excited to think that they're back in contention again after a long time of just kind of wandering out there in the desert.
Can you name 2 players on the team?
No. Can you?
I could. Jalen Brunson's the only one I know because I watched the game yesterday.
Okay, I know him.
That's all I got. For all I know, all I know is Willis Reed could come rump. Oh, I know who the coach is. Thibodeau, that guy from the Bulls. Because he's got the worst hair. He's got worse hair than Tiger Woods.
Really?
Yeah, it's bad. So
they beat Donovan yesterday, Pat?
Yeah, and on overtime, and the Bulls had the last shot. They couldn't execute. DeRozan took a bad shot. So it was.
You know what else?
Go ahead.
You know what else I'm excited about in New York? What? Billy Joel in Madison Square Garden live last night. That was unbelievable.
I watched that. It was unbelievable. 100 straight sellouts. That's amazing. Unreal. And he had Seinfeld come out. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really nice. That was good.
Now, did you go to the Billy Joel concert when he was here?
Yes.
He wasn't really as into it. He was just kind of
No, they didn't have the big production like they had last night.
Yeah.
The whole it's a huge production now with all kinds of people doing instruments and singing. It was great. But Jill and I went to see him in Orlando about 5 or 6 years ago, and he was really good there too.
Yeah, no, he's really good. He was not good in Gainesville, is all I'll say. He was he didn't even acknowledge that he was where he was. So, but yeah, great. To 100 straight sellouts at Madison Square Garden. First guy to ever do that. Now, I don't know that anybody else has played 100 straight shows in Madison Square
Pretty
Garden.
amazing.
But he's probably only got to get in a limo and go like 15 minutes. So he's good. All right, Robbie, we'll let you go. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, Pat. I'll talk to you later on. We'll see you.
See you Wednesday, all right? Okay, let's get to our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend. And I appreciate Adam so much. I went by there the other day and got a bunch of gift certificates from him, and he is what a big part of our golf tournament he is. And Michelle was there, and what a sweetheart she is. They're big parts of our lives. I will say that. Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend. I decided to make it. I had a lot of options. I decided to make it Jack Caglione. And here's why. He hit a homer in his 6th straight game. That's hard to do. It's hard to get a hit in 6 straight games. He hit a homer in 6 straight games. Guy is just ridiculous. I hate to say this. I can't wait to see what he does in Major League Baseball. Whether he is a huge success, as Wyatt Langford has already been, or it just doesn't translate. Like Laporta never translated. He played in the big leagues for a little while, but it didn't really translate. I hope it does. But he is our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend, and it's fun to watch him play. You feel like you're watching a generational talent. I hope they take advantage of it. Now, I have said this before. I hate it when there's a great player on Florida and they're not good. And like Ricky Pearsall, for example, that they didn't take advantage of him. Skylar Wallace is right. Like last year, they didn't take advantage of her. This year, they might. So I hope that works out. And I do want to also throw out kudos to both those coaches, Kevin O'Sullivan and Tim Walton, who have donated stuff for our golf tournament today. So really appreciative of them. Also, you know who else did? Dan Quinn, the new head coach of the Commanders, is already asked for my address. He sent us something down, a helmet down. People are so great. In fact, Mike Weiner, who was a manager at Florida and now is with the Detroit Pistons as an assistant coach, sent us a signed basketball. No, not Detroit. I'm sorry. Indiana. Sent us a signed basketball from all. It wouldn't be any good if it was from Detroit. You're right. No, nobody would want that one. People are just amazing. They are just amazing, and I appreciate them. I do want to give everybody plugs, though. So Adam being number one, because not only they're doing so much for us, including gift certificates, but also serving us lunch after the tournament. I don't want to say he's number one because it may be Leonardo's at Millhopper. And it's time for our quick picks. A lot of you got it right last week. You picked the blue. Even though I was going to have a problem with this because the orange got those 3 points, and they were going to win even though they didn't score the most points. And I think I just would have included everybody if that had happened, but the blue ended up winning the game. Leonardo's a Millhopper title sponsor along with Titan MRI of the Bob Dooley Invitational. We appreciate Kyle Cohen over at Leonardo's, and of course my man Joe Calorio, who's just incredible at Titan MRI. We'll give you a playing game for, and this is the one that I'm gonna watch. Look, I'm gonna talk about this in a minute, but I'm ready for the NBA playoffs. I don't watch many games. I watched the fourth quarter of the game yesterday between the Bulls and Knicks, but I was kind of getting geared up. I had to learn the players' names for one thing. Which team is Jokic and which team is Milovic and which team is Jokic and no, there's all these guys with different names. I can't figure it out. Who's the guy for Denver?
Jokic is Denver.
Okay, and
Nikolai Jokic.
and who's the guy who won the MVP last year?
That is Jokic.
Well, who's the guy who won it? Oh God,
Jokic just won it 2 years in a row.
Okay.
He won for 3. Yeah.
But there's another guy, Milosevic, and then there's who's the guy?
There's a Vucevic.
Who's the guy who plays for Dallas?
Oh, that is Luka Doncic.
Doncic. So how am I supposed to get all these guys straight? Doncic and Jokic. And anyway, I'm ready for the playoffs. I will say that. So we're going to give you on Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. Miami at Philadelphia, play-in game. Now, I think the winner is in to the playoffs. The loser has to play, still gets another game. So it's not really it's kind of a play-in game, but it's not a play-out game. But still, that's a Wednesday game, so you guys have plenty of time. Miami at Philadelphia. Send them in to patrickdooley54@gmail.com. We're about a week away from pulling a new winner, and I look forward to that. All right, let's get to our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And, of course, Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of family law and workers' compensation. If you're a loyal listener to this show, you know who we are by now. If not, Google the firm, check out the reviews, and hear what our clients have to say. Ken and Jennifer can be reached 24/7 via call or text at 352-339-9920. 352-339-9920. Hesser and Kipke. We love Hesser and Kipke. We love Ken and Jennifer. They are good friends. All right, let's start with number 1. The portal is open. Hey, can you see players running by right now? Flying by. Hey, here they go. They're going here. They're going there. They've got to get the portal under control. But if they don't, they don't. I can't worry about it. But it is open, and I know Florida's going to be digging into it for a little bit, and people are going to be digging into Florida's players, and people are going to be tampering, and you know that's going to be happening. People are going to be calling players that are really good at Florida and saying, hey, we can give you more. Why don't you get in the portal? It's the way it is happening. It's not the way it works, but it's the way it's happening. These are all against the rules, but it doesn't mean they can't happen. They are happening. Just know that. We'll see what happens at the end. It's almost like in the beginning of August, like you need, like a scorecard to know where what conference is this team in and who's on their team. I have no idea. They've got so many guys in the portal. So anyway, it's open today. Welcome to our nightmare. Number 2, I did want to mention softball salvaging the last game. Thanks to Keegan Rothrock pitching a one-hitter. I know Zach's favorite player. Pitching a one-hitter, and they got the last game, so they got through that. Tough to go up there. I mean, that's a really good team. When you have freshmen, you don't know what you're going to get every time, and this has been a perfect example on this team in terms of the pitching. Pitching has been way better than it was last year, but at times it's been real like last year. You remember that 13-12 game. There's been a couple other games like that. But then all of a sudden, Keegan Rothrock goes out and throws a one-hit wasn't a shutout. They won 3-1. Pitched a one-hitter. And you're like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I just keep thinking about what this team's going to be like in the future. Of course, they won't have some of the players they have now, but I think it's just going to keep building and be better. But want to give them a lot of credit for winning that game. But it is part of, Now they have this week. They don't have a midweek game, so don't go out there on Wednesday or Tuesday. But they will be playing this weekend against South Carolina at home. So there you go, Zach. You can go out and see those games too. Yeah, so, all right, number 3, Kenley Jansen, who used to be a Braves pitcher, used to be a Dodgers pitcher, used to be a lot of pitchers. I don't even know who he pitches for now. But he's complaining that the balls suck on ice. He says the balls are brutal. They just can't get a feel for them. There's been other pitchers complaining that the balls in the bullpen that you rub up yourself are better than the balls that come out. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about balls anymore. How about that? Baseball players are the whiniest players in any sport. Well, maybe soccer, the way they fall down when somebody breathes on them. But baseball players, come on, man. Just throw the ball over the plate. And if it throw it over the plate with not enough velocity on it, it's going out. Or too much velocity on it, it's going out. It's just what it is. I don't really care. Okay. That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things for today. Let's finish up with our Swamp Games of the Week. Appreciate our friends at the Swamp Restaurant. You go there and watch all these games. It's going to be, let me tell you what, the Swamp Restaurant will be rocking Tuesday and Wednesday when we have these NBA playoff games going on. I promise you that. All kinds of specials on all kinds of different drinks. And we appreciate Ryan out there at the Swamp. Let's start off with Tuesday night. You do have a baseball game if you want to watch it on regular TV. San Diego, Milwaukee on TBS if you want to watch that 8:30 start. Also, you have basketball Tuesday night. The playoffs start at 7:30 on Tuesday on TNT. Lakers at the Pelicans. Now, if the Lakers win, they're in. If the Pelicans win, the Lakers have to come back and play somebody. It's kind of a weird format. Also that night, Golden State, my team, at Sacramento. I'm not optimistic. Look, maybe it's the end of the dynasty and everything, and it's been fun. I've enjoyed watching them, but we'll see. You never know. That's at 10 o'clock on TNT. Then Wednesday, Miami at Philadelphia at 7 o'clock on ESPN. And that's a game we have on your Leonardo's and Millhopper Quick Picks. And then Atlanta at Billy Donovan's Chicago Bulls at 9:30 ESPN. I'll be watching that game. I promise you that very much. Florida baseball Tuesday against Jacksonville University, 6:30 on the ESPN Plus. Okay, it's the only place you can watch that. But that's where I've been watching a lot of games lately, it seems like. All right, that's going to do it for our show. Appreciate Coach Spurrier. Appreciate Robbie Andrew. We'll have a good guest Thursday. I just don't know who it is. I'm waiting on somebody. I had somebody. Anyway, you don't need to hear about that. Thanks to Zach Rothrock for doing such a great job as he always does. We'll be back with another show on Thursday. Either way, we'll have somebody. I promise you that. Until then, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I'm way back, and I am out of here.